Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Dave Rogers, and today I have a special guest from the UK, Hilary Carter. Hello, Hilary.
Hello, Dave.
It's so great to see you. The winter solstice has just passed. I imagine you've had some awakenings or some interesting experiences there. Would you share a little bit about yourself and the story behind the 1111 code, please?
I'm a yoga teacher and an astrologer, and some years ago, 15 years ago, 1111 began to appear in my life, way beyond coincidence. So I decided I got to follow this and see what it means, and that's what I did. I used it as a sign, like a signpost, and whatever Hilary said, I just ignored it and I just followed those numbers and saw where it led me. Yeah.
And what were some of the places it led you to?
Oh, well, it led me to put all my money into buying a rundown old convent in southern Spain that had once been home to the Knights Templars, was built on the Temple of Athena. Um, More recently, in the 16th century, was a Franciscan um, priory and then a Catholic convent. And it was actually the place of an authenticated miracle that's actually written down in the Franciscan records that there was an appearance of the Black Madonna in there.
Goosebumps all over. Thank you, Hilary.
Mm.
It's beautiful because, again, I'm going to bring this down. So it's 1111 code. You start following the 1111 code. You start being brought into the Templar Knights, the Franciscans, the miracles, your yoga teaching, your breath work, your writing. That was the first book, the 1111 code, which led to the second book.
Yeah, no name, no number, which is when I was led to another convent, this time in southern France. Um, and then Number Woman, which was like pulling the strings, pulling the pieces together. And that was mostly in Italy, but very strongly linked to Thomas Becket.
So for you, yoga, breath, numbers, astrology. If you were to distill down the 1111 code into a morsel of wisdom, what would it be?
It would be that our higher intelligence communicates to us through numbers.
And so when people notice the clock, they notice the signboards, they notice the checkout counters. There's a message there. There's a awakening there. There's a higher intelligence there.
Yeah, some people say it's angels, but I say it's our own higher self, because we're all part of the divine spark, and it's letting you know that there's a little crack in reality appearing. It's like, hey, look, a little crack in reality. Why don't you be brave and sort of open that and walk through it?
Beautiful. What unfolded for you during the winter solstice, if I might be so bold to ask?
Oh my goodness, it was incredible. I just knew that I had to be on the Greenwich Meridian, which is the 0000 degrees from where Greenwich Mean Time is measured. And it was a bit difficult because London's on lockdown, but I had to go, so I just went, and I managed it. And of course, the observatory was closed, but I found the line and I stood astride it and I looked down at the city of London, and there was mist all over except for 4 towers that formed the most perfect 1111.
I love it.
And then, and then I decided to follow the line to Stratford, which is another part of London. But I had to get the bus to do that, and it was bus 108, which is a very sacred number. So I knew that it was, a divine work.
And let's maybe what's beautiful whenever I get a chance to see you, talk to you, experience 108 for many people is the number of prayers. It's the number of
Mm,
beads that are often on prayer beads.
mm.
Uh, and so there's this sacred or divine guided message that you see, and you've trained yourself in many ways to be open to it and to be aware of it and to follow it. I think that your way of following the numbers, would you share a little bit about the way you do that?
Yeah, first of all, I'd say that the mala, the beads, there are 108 beads that you count, but there's also three spaces, because you do it in three lots. So a normal mala actually has 111 beads on it. Um, so how do I follow numbers? Well, when I see them, I immediately know, oh, hang on, here's some message coming through. Um, it's not a words message, because I believe that numbers come from much closer to source energy than words do. So it's like the numbers are behind words, closer to source. So um, I take a lot of notice of them. So say, well, like it appeared for me for the convent. I kept getting emails at 1111, and the price was 111,000, and then comes up the battle between the ego self, like, oh, don't be ridiculous, you're not going to buy that old wreck, to the higher self saying, this is, you're being divinely guided, and you've got to trust, and you don't know what the outcome's going to be, you don't know the purpose of it, so please just trust, put your ego wants and needs aside, and just go for it. And that's what I do, I just go for it.
And many people around you might think tell you you're crazy or whatever, but you
Yeah.
just go, you just trust, you do what you feels right, you tap in
Yeah,
and you have an adventure.
on the spiritual path, it's you've got to move beyond what other people think of you, because of course some people are going to think, oh my god, they're crazy. Some people tell me I'm crazy, um, but it's only the ego that can get wounded by that. And I have faith, and I know that one day we will all awaken.
A little change in speed for some guidance for people who are looking to be an aspiring writer, who are looking to publish their book. What word of advice would you give them?
If you want to write a book, just write it. Just sit down and write it. Make sure you enjoy it, because books have energy, and the energy of the author comes through in the book. And I've actually got a couple of books where that happened to me. I have a theosophical book that was published in about 1910 called Corpus Meum, My Body. And as I was reading that book, the author started reading it to me. I mean, he's long dead, and he started speaking in this gravelly Scottish voice. And I realized it was him reaching through his words directly to me. And another book, um, Theos Bernard, who studied the early yogis, about 1950, I think that was. I was reading that book, and suddenly blue light appeared all around the book. So the books have energy. So if you're writing a book, write it with joy and with pleasure, and just enjoy it. Yeah. And then that enjoyment and purpose. And like, I had to write my book. I just couldn't not write it. I couldn't have died and not told my story. So I hope that comes through my book.
I'm being asked to ask you, what does 108 mean to you?
108, well, for me, I mean, it's the beads. It's definitely the mantra. I've got a story about mantra, but that's too long. We'll have to do that one another day, maybe.
I'm being asked to ask another question. Is your former convent was a recorded miracle?
Yeah.
What can we do to experience more miracles in 2021?
Raise your consciousness. I think if we raise our consciousness away from the lower self towards the higher self, um, then miracles definitely start happening. In fact, this is what happened to me, because before all um, these miracles started to happening with numbers, I had a very strong spiritual practice with yoga and Tai Chi, going way back to the 1970s when I first started working with a Tai Chi master doing energy healing, whereby he would teach us telepathically. So I was very blessed to have such a teacher in London.
One more question. to to say or raise consciousness is one thing. What would be one or two things you might say to me to raise my consciousness so that miracles will unfold in a effortlessly easy manner?
Well, I'd say that the most important thing is breath, because breath is the bridge between the levels of consciousness. So any of these spiritual practices, such as yoga and Tai Chi, and just pure breath work. I mean, I think Wim Hof, he's all the rage at the moment, isn't he?
Yes.
Um, but I enjoy the just simple yogic breathing and movement. Um, and just being aware in each moment. So when you breathe, of course, you're totally aware in that moment. That's the beauty of yoga, because it brings you right into the now and not sort of this busy mind thinking about the future and the past.
Well, you are a big part of my experience with breath in Mexico when we were on the top of the hill with you and Keith doing the divine feminine, divine masculine sacred circle. And then when we were in Cambodia and we did the Shiva temple opening, and you guided to crack open the crown chakra. And so breath work has been such a beautiful. And then when we did the walking around the church 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left, and you guided us to really breathe and to be present. And those are just 3 little memories that give me huge goosebumps and just so much gratitude for the lessons that you've shared and continue to open up people to trust, to love, to breathe, and to celebrate life. And I just want to
Mm.
say thank you so very much for all you do. And it's been amazing.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I'm blessed to be able to be living this life like I am. Wonderful life.
And if people would like to reach out and get a copy of 1111 or ways to learn a little bit more about your books, where, in what way can they get them?
Well, online, any of the online sellers. I'm not selling them through my website, um, but yeah, you can get it pretty much anywhere,
So
really.
Amazon would be one of the better ones.
Amazon or your local bookshop.
All right.
Small businesses are struggling, so be good to do it through the local bookshop.
And thank you so much for your time today. I guess my little bonus question would be, what has been a lesson that you have embraced for this past year?
This past year, what's the lesson? Perseverance. Just, just I know my vision. I know where I'm being guided, and I'm just following. I'm just following this, and I have to just learn to persevere and have faith, and know that I can see what's happening, and it is going to manifest.
Beautiful. Hilary Carter, author of the 1111 Code. Thank you so very much. Uh, namaste, and
Namaste.
have an absolutely brilliant completion of 2020 and a wonderful 2021. Thank you for your
And
time
you.
today.
Lots of love. Bye bye.